Hi, I'm Lesley Arizmendi with Equip for Equality. In this video, I'm going to discuss access to healthcare under the Americans with Disabilities Act. People with disabilities, including older Americans who have a physical, cognitive, sensory, or mental impairment, have rights under the Americans with Disabilities Act, also known as the ADA. Title III of the ADA prohibits private entities that are places of public accommodation from discriminating against people with disabilities. Because private hospitals and other healthcare facilities are considered places of public accommodation, they must follow the requirements of Title III of the ADA. Title III applies no matter how big their office is, how many employees they have, or whether they provide physical or mental health services. Examples of facilities covered by Title III include private hospitals, mental health facilities, health clinics, and dentist and doctor's offices. To comply with Title III, hospitals and healthcare facilities must provide people with disabilities an equal opportunity to participate in and benefit from the services they provide. That means healthcare facilities must make reasonable changes to their policies, procedures, and practices to provide equal access to people with disabilities. A hospital or healthcare facility cannot deny you access to the facility or refuse to treat you because of your disability. If you are requesting treatment or services that the healthcare provider offers to other patients, the provider must offer that treatment or service to you no matter what your disability is. A healthcare facility can refuse to provide services to you if you pose a direct threat to the health or safety of others at the facility. The facility must assess you and determine if the risk you pose can be eliminated or reduced if the facility reasonably changes its policies, procedures, or practices for you, or if the facility provides you with auxiliary aids or other services. You have the right to receive the same quality and level of care from your healthcare provider that other patients receive. Your provider must listen to your concerns and perform any medically appropriate tests, examinations, and treatments she would with all other patients. You should not have to wait longer for assistance or wait in a different area than others to receive services. Your provider also cannot charge you more than other patients for the same services. A hospital or healthcare facility must make reasonable changes to its policies, procedures, and practices to make sure that you receive the same services and care as other patients. For example, hospital staff may need to change facility practices by taking extra time to explain a procedure to you than they routinely take for other patients. Effective communication is very important in the healthcare setting. Hospitals and other healthcare facilities must provide you with appropriate auxiliary aids when they are necessary to make sure you can effectively communicate with staff and understand the information that your healthcare provider is sharing with you. The facility must also provide auxiliary aids to any family member, friend, or associate who is involved in your care. Auxiliary aids are services or devices that help people with visual, hearing, speaking, or other impairments have an equal opportunity to participate in and enjoy the benefits of an agency's services. If you know you are going to need an auxiliary aid at an upcoming appointment, it's a good idea to let the healthcare provider know ahead of time that you will need it because some auxiliary aids may not already be available at the facility. For people with visual impairments, examples of auxiliary aids include qualified readers, audio recordings, and braille or large print materials. For people with hearing impairments, examples of auxiliary aids include qualified sign language interpreters, note takers, or written materials. If you have a hearing impairment, your healthcare provider cannot require you to bring your own interpreter. If you bring someone to the facility with you, staff should not rely on that person to interpret for them unless it is an emergency or you specifically request that the person interpret for you, the person agrees, and it's appropriate under the circumstances. Hospitals and other healthcare facilities should involve you in the decision as to which auxiliary aid is most appropriate. They are not required to provide you with the specific auxiliary aid you request, as long as the option offered provides effective communication. They also do not have to offer a particular auxiliary aid if offering it would be significantly difficult or expensive or would fundamentally alter the goods and services the facility provides. If the facility does not provide an auxiliary aid for these reasons, it must provide a different auxiliary aid or service if one exists to make sure that you have access to the benefit of the facility's services. If you use a service animal for assistance because of your disability, the hospital or other healthcare facility should allow you to use your service animal in any areas of the facility that the public is usually allowed to go. This includes waiting rooms, exam rooms, or the cafeteria. There may be areas of the healthcare facility from which the public is generally excluded, like an operating room. The facility can ask that you remove your service animal from the facility if the animal is out of control or is not housebroken. Staff should not ask you to provide written proof that the animal is a service animal, but they can ask you 2 questions. 1, whether the dog is a service animal required because of a disability, and 2, what task the dog has been trained to perform. The work or task a dog has been trained to perform must be directly related to the person's disability. Dogs whose sole function is to provide comfort or emotional support do not qualify as service animals under the ADA. You should be able to physically enter the hospital or other healthcare facility no matter what your disability is. Healthcare facilities should remove any physical barriers that would prevent or make entry difficult for persons with disabilities. Examples of steps that a healthcare facility may take to remove barriers include installing a ramp outside the facility, widening doorways, and installing grab bars in toilet stalls. Your hospital or other healthcare provider does not have to remove certain physical barriers if doing so would be too difficult or expensive, but they should then take any other steps available to make the facility physically accessible to you. For more information about your rights, visit equipforequality.org.